A very good afternoon to you all. Thank you for watching Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and we're going to be running for the next 30 minutes. This is your lunchtime news, and without further ado, let's get straight into the bulletin. In our first story, President Yoweri Museveni has cautioned against attempts to Uganda's warning of severe consequences for those tarnishing the country's reputation before foreign missions. Museveni made this message at Kolokoli's grounds, where Ugandans gathered to celebrate his and the NRM's achievements. Details in the story.
Kola ceremonial grounds in Kampala was the place to be on Friday. Ugandans in their thousands gathered to celebrate the achievements and legacy of President Yoweri Museveni. Mainly made up of NRM supporters, they converged in big numbers to celebrate 38 years of executive leadership. Museveni, who was the main celebrant, lauded organizers for organizing his achievements towards the country. In his speech, President Yoweri Museveni said his 38 years in power has focused on security, which has enabled the country to develop.
Especially some of the opposition groups. There are people who think they can disturb Uganda. Ntibagala kutawula Uganda. They go to the embassies. I know which embassies they go to. Go there, drink coffee, eat pancakes and so on, and they are given money by embassies, foreigners. But what was sent? Mbubatabule Uganda. Factories are faces of Mulaba, the Tuzimbie. Amashamba gemulaba tusobola tutya okukkiriza nti wabeewo atutabula.
Museveni's remarks did not skip NRM's achievements in social services, including free education, health care, and infrastructure development.
After putting that forward, education for all, immunization for all, security for all, then there was prosperity for all. We have moved well on that. And in order to do that, we must get rid of all the corruption in the educational system.
Focus also continues to be on prosperity for all and wealth creation through industrialization and factory establishment.
Sagara abazanyi n'abalorezi njagala bonna babeera bazanyi. Wealth creation buli omu alina okwetaba mu kugoba obwavu mu maka ge. So therefore you, the NRM cadres from up country, ensure that people are encouraged to get involved in wealth creation. Because you have seen those factories and the farms. The more we produce, the bigger market we need. The internal market of Uganda is not enough. You need to talk with our East African comrades to consolidate the East African common market.
President Museveni also reiterated his move to fight corruption in the country.
And I would like the IGG to follow it up. I got a delegation from Kagadi, and they were saying our children are not getting jobs because they don't have money to buy jobs. But we are there, we are here. I am here. I have your support. I have the support of the freedom fighters. The other patriots are there. And the victims, the Wananchi, are there. So the three of us are going to crush the corrupt.
On her part, the First Lady, Janet Kataha Museveni, attributed the NRM and Museveni's success to the grace of God.
I know that universal education for both primary and secondary education is one of the ways this government has been striving to strengthen the weakest link among our people, to ensure that ignorance can become a thing of the past. And I know that it has not been able to achieve all the objectives of universal education, but we continue to believe that sooner rather than later, it will achieve those objectives.
Other celebrants lauded President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for ushering in and sustaining peace, as well as other social and economic services.
Our population in subsistence production used to be at 68%, now they are at 39%. We have increased in revenue collection. We used to collect 5 billion shillings, but now we collect 32 trillion shillings.
It has given us enough security. We really are so grateful for our country. We are very proud. We move everywhere we go. We are so happy, in fact.
You took up arms together with your other 27 comrades, some of whom are here with us today to celebrate you. Uganda was bleeding, was crying. Your liberation war and victory restored hope for peace and security in Uganda.
The occasion was crowned with cutting of the cake, followed by awarding of gifts to the president. Also in attendance was the Vice President Jessica Arupo, the Prime Minister Robina Nabanja, the former Vice President Edward Kiwanuka Sekandi, ministers, members of parliament, religious leaders, cultural leaders, among other dignitaries. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Resistance Movement Party members enjoyed performances by Uganda's famous musicians at a Thanksgiving celebrating event where the legacy of the national chairman, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, was commemorated. Let's take a look at the details.
In the background is a song entitled Tubonga Nawe, released in 2015, and a theme song of the NRM party's political ideologies as they prepared for the 2016 general elections. Notable among the musicians who featured in the song by their stage names were Jose Chameleon, Bebe Cool, Juliana Kanyomozi, Rema Namakula, Pastor Wilson Bugembe, King Saha, and the Good Life duo, the masterminds of the project. Since the previous years to date, candidates vying for different political positions have made it a trend to make use of artists' music to draw support from the public. It was such a similar experience this Friday as renowned Ugandan musicians and ruling NRM party diehards joined the party's supporters to celebrate the legacy of their national chairman Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Jaja wamune mami bajja kugamba ebintu bingi nnyo ebikunyumira naye weebale kuuma ggwanga lyaffe Uganda.
Celebrations caught the attention of the president, who was accompanied by the First Lady Janet Kataha Museveni after Uganda's legendary singing icon Joseph Mayanja performed his Basimo Ogenze song.
Balikolere ggwanga ebiresimisa byokka banange gwavaawo obutasiima ekyo kyo kimmalamu amaanyi ne mu byekola byonna. Bani abasiima muzeeyi wanika omukono mu bbanga bw'oti bw'oba tosiima so omukono gwo wansi abasiima teekayo ebiri.
By the president's strategy of handshakes, he invited Jose Chameleon as a sign of bond before taking a photo with him and the First Lady. Jose Chameleon, Bebe Cool, Eddie Kenzo, Kusasira, Gravito Mutuju, and Alien Skin are the most trending performers under the NRM party camp. However, Some of these have oftentimes lived in provocation and claim to be attacked by the opposition supporters and vice versa.
Naye muzeeyi mumuŋŋambire muzeeyi omuzigu nange njagala kulitayalinga njagala kuinspiringa bageto yuti njagala kukola studio enene mwena mufuuke nga betuleeta abalala bagaza n'abalala. By press time, many supporters were in parting mood. I'm Ivan Joko for UBC.
And furthermore, the Office of the Prime Minister and Uganda National NGO Forum held a dialogue with civil society organizations about the forthcoming voluntary national review report on the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Now, this process allows member states to assess progress and identify shortcomings in implementing the goals and targets.
Voluntary National Review Report is part of the follow-up and review mechanism of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
The voluntary report where as a country we voluntarily assess ourselves on how we are progressing on implementing this global agenda on sustainable development, and it highlights the progress we've made, the challenges and the key opportunities that are available for us to accelerate our efforts as a country in the implementation of SDGs. So this national report is not only for the government of Uganda, whereas it is coordinated by the government of Uganda, but it's a report for everybody, including the civil society organizations, the private sector, academia, the UN agencies, because all these partners and players have contributed to the development process of this report.
The voluntary national review reports are presented to the United Nations during the high-level political forum every July. The 2024 VNR report will be presented from the 11th to the 18th of July 2024.
We do collaborate closely with the SDG Secretariat, and that's why we've been part of the process of reviewing what the government has been doing. But more fundamentally, I think you're asking the question around the level of performance on some of the different indicators. And the report indicates that Uganda has made progress on most of the indicators. And like I said, there are different perceptions, especially among the civil society organizations, about some of the things that government has reported on. And the conversation here is to help us come to a common ground on some of those key messages.
The voluntary national review report covers 17 sustainable development goals to be achieved by 2030. These include ending poverty in all its forms, ending hunger, promoting good health, achieving gender equality, among others. However, despite the goals being popularized in this report, many are unconvinced of the progress due to issues such as heavy corruption in government and high youth unemployment.
NGO Forum and the different CSOs here would say when we go down to implement a project, we call partners to work with. And yes, so they're also trying to show you that we're open to work with youth CSOs, but in actual sense, as a youth CSO, youth-led initiatives in line with SDGs, they do not have a better footing or a competitive advantage like most of the CSOs that have been in field for so long. So can we have a multi-dimensional or multi-layered approach towards addressing the grassroots problems?
Constitute over 55% of the population of Uganda. So the representation of young people within these political institutions is still wanting. For instance, in Parliament, the number of youth representatives there vis-a-vis the number of people in Parliament, you see that it is still wanting.
Charity Nahabwe, UBC News.
Furthermore, farmers in Nyabushoji County, Chiruhura District, are being encouraged to pursue coffee growing due to the area's potential for cultivating high-value crops. Now, this encouragement was given during a study visit to the Rugogi Farmers Association in Mwakasel, Kenshuga Sub-County, organized by Wilson Chijagwenje.
As a district and Nyabushoji as a county, a few farmers have been selected we have put demonstration farms for purposes of irrigation.
The Member of Parliament for Nyabushozi County and Chairperson of the Defence and International Affairs Parliamentary Committee, Wilson Kajwenje, has urged his constituents to invest in coffee farming to enhance local economic growth and improve socio-economic livelihoods. He highlighted the region's natural advantages, such as the availability of organic fertilizers from livestock, which significantly enhance coffee production.
Once farmers, if they get the 1 million from PDM, go and plant coffee. If you get from Emioga, you can also do farming. This is how we are going to eradicate poverty from our farms. It increases income because coffee is a high value crop. It has very good market. If you looked after, and you don't need square miles of land.
Kajwenje underscored the importance of field extension services tailored for farmer associations, emphasizing that collective action allows extension workers to provide more effective assistance compared to individual efforts.
If you have 1 acre, it can sustain you, it can bring you an income, educate your children, and you save and become rich.
He also informed Nyabushozi farmers about the government's micro-scale irrigation scheme aimed at increasing agricultural productivity and promoting knowledge sharing among progressive farmers. Kajwenje urged beneficiaries to prioritize coffee cultivation as a means to alleviate poverty and foster sustainable development in Nyabushozi.
Show the world that in Nyabushozi we have people who are involved in growing high-value crops like coffee. We are ready, we are able, we are willing to feed the world with very good coffee from Nyabushozi.
Investing in coffee growing in Nyabushozi reflects a broader vision of agriculture development and economic empowerment for the predominantly livestock communities.
The beauty is that when farmers come together in an association, then it helps.
Amanya gange nze Namtebi Sharon nga nkolera wano wennyini Saka Kirombe oba Makindye. Empangula gye nawanguddemu ssente mbadde nga nkozesa mobile money nga nsindika school fees w'omwana ku ssomero. Okutegeera nti mpangudde nze mutima neegambye nti kambalinde bamale okujja ndyoke nzikirize nti mpangudde. Kyenyinza okubagamba nti si byabafere weewaawo abafere gye bali naye ennamba eri emu yokka era bw'eba ekukubidde omanya eyo si yabafere. Mpulira bulungi nnyo 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 era ndi musanyufu nnyo. Naye MTN mobile money mbebaza nnyo mwebale nnyo mwebalire.
Together we're unstoppable.
Predict the outcome of 10 football games and win big with tickets at only 500 shillings. Play for this Monday's draw to stand a chance to win big with Sports Take 10.
Buy your tickets at authorized shops on nationallottery.go.ug to download the app or simply dial *278#. Ugandan National Lottery. Dream, play, win. Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Hi, my name is Rachel Ndubuchiri and I am a Ugandan actress and the winner of the Africa Monologue Challenge 2023. Now, thanks to your immense support, the Africa Monologue Challenge Season 2 is coming to Uganda between July 25th and August 20th. Africa Monologue Challenge is looking for passionate Ugandan storytellers to take part in a Pan-African short film that will showcase Uganda to the rest of the world. To be a part of this, all you have to do is weave a captivating narrative that captures Uganda's cultural heritage while fostering connections between 10 diverse individuals from 10 African countries. This short film will be shared to over 50 film festivals. Now, to find information on the AMC 2024 finalists, visit www.africamonologue.com. Please submit your short script, which should be 10 pages for a short film between 10 to 15 minutes, to africamonologue@gmail.com before 30th June 2024. Now, let's talk about rewards. The selected script will have the writer's full name in the end credits. You will get a chance to collaborate with amazing filmmakers from all over the world. You will get a small token for your creativity, and you remain with full ownership of your script. Let's work together to create a Pan-African film that will echo African stories throughout the world.
faith, love, miracles. Did you miss the recent Sifan Crusades? Don't worry, Christ for All Nations bring you 7 crusades closer to you. Powerful divine deliverance from bondages, yokes, and curses. Salvation of souls, family restorations, and miraculous healings. Don't miss Kampala Nubaka District, Tororo, Pabo, Kaliro, Masindi, Soroti, and Bidibidi Refugee Camp Crusades from June 24th to July 15th, 2024. Come and receive your miracle.
Welcome back to still watching the UBC News, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. Now, for many years, the debate in Uganda, more so in East Africa, has been, should we adopt the Kiswahili language in Uganda as an official language or not? In June 2022, the parliament passed this law, and Kiswahili was officially made national language, an official language of Uganda. And without further ado, every 7th of July, the National Kiswahili Day is celebrated across the country. And for that reason, in studio today, I'm joined by Mr. Asiku James. Very welcome, Mr. Asiku.
Thank you very much.
I'm happy that you've honored our invite to talk about the forthcoming Kiswahili Day coming up tomorrow.
Yes.
But before we get into that, I just want to understand your perspective.
Yes.
Why has Uganda delayed to adopt Kiswahili as a national language?
In the first place, my name is Asiku James. I'm director of Mother Teresa Preparatory School at Juman. At the same time, I'm a teacher for general paper for over 23 years. Pertaining your language, you know, adopting a language is a process. First of all, Kiswahili is a Bantu language, largely spoken in Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, along the coastal regions of East Africa, Mozambique, the islands around by the Swahili. Swahili came as a result of intermarriages between the Arabs and the indigenous there during the time of the trade.
Yeah.
So that is the language. So adopting it here, you see, the government needs to go through many processes. That's why it took a long time to be finally adopted as a compulsory subject to be taught in secondary schools and primary schools in Uganda.
Why do you think having a unifying language is important on the East African scope?
Not only East Africa, let us talk about Africa. There was what I learned about Pan-Africanism and OAU. Pan means togetherness. Africanism means belonging to Africa. So as people that belong to Africa, we need a unifying language that is our own, not a foreign, that is none other than Kiswahili.
So you believe Kiswahili can actually spread across Africa?
Definitely.
Okay, I really want to. I hope I'm here for that time, but if I'm not, I'm praying that eventually we do get a unifying language as Africa, because one of the things that is derailing our progress is the disintegration. But I would like to also ask, do you think that Uganda is actually ready for the Kiswahili language, and do you think that it's going to take off smoothly in the few years to come?
Actually, as you put it in the introduction, the cabinet has already approved it, and it's supposed to be taught according to the cabinet. It's supposed to taught as a compulsory subject in primary schools and secondary schools in Uganda. So Uganda is already ready, and it is already on the timetable. However, I can see teachers are concentrated, very many teachers occasionally, they are concentrated here in the central, but villages, there are still very few teachers, so the government need to improve on that area.
What is it like in Adjumani district where you come from? Is it something that you are seeing creeping up in as far as adoption is concerned?
Yeah, I have seen like we have NGOs like Window Trust. They have 5 community schools, so they're already implementing. But most of our government-aided secondary schools, they have limited less than 7 teachers, meaning that teachers are concentrated in certain areas. So in certain areas, they're not there. Probably there's a need for regional recruitment so that such kind of areas can be catered for.
I really strongly believe that Swahili can actually be taken as a national language in Uganda, despite the fact that I also tried to study Kiswahili but didn't, pick up. But I think it was more about the relevance within my situation. At that time, Kiswahili was not really required for me to pass through any stage. But I feel like if it is made mandatory and the fact that we now have a legal backing, I guess then that gives it the support it needs. But
now you can see in the areas of trade, in course of law, there are people who need to be supported. Also in the education sector and many other sectors. Now, how are we going to help these people who already know the language very well, and they don't know other languages? So really, it needs to be backed up. Yes.
And that's why you're having the annual celebration tomorrow. And would you kindly enlighten us about the deliberations happening tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we shall have the Tanzanian ambassador to Uganda. That will be the chief guest.
Where?
And it will be at the Trinity College in Bingo, where we are going to tell the whole world that we need Kiswahili in Africa. We need Kiswahili in Uganda. We need Kiswahili in all parts of the world.
Besides the law and adopting it within the education system, what other ways do you think, as we summarize, what other ways do you think we can adopt Kiswahili within the country?
Yeah, I have seen the efforts of the government. I see some MPs already learning it. I see government has put a special school, especially for teaching some cadres. I would think if government could rapidly open training centers, because what I know is in some places teachers are not yet there, so that teachers can be trained so that they can teach it in all the schools, in secondary schools, in primary schools in Uganda. That could be the best.
Thank you very much, Mr. Asiku James. Mr.
Asiku
James is the director of Mother Teresa Preparatory School in Adjumani, but he is also a secondary school teacher teaching general paper. Thank you very much, and we do hope to have you sometime soon.
I'll do respond when you call me back.
All right, now proceeding into more news. Britain has a new government. Keir Starmer's centre-left Labour Party won a landslide victory in Thursday's election with 412-seat majority in Parliament. How might Britain's role in the world change under Prime Minister Starmer? Let's find out in this report.
And a new direction for Britain. Labour leader Keir Starmer and his wife Victoria were cheered by supporters as they arrived Friday at the Prime Minister's residence. Starmer promised to lead a government of service on a mission of national renewal.
From now on, you have a government unburdened by doctrine, guided only by the determination to serve your interest, to defy, quietly, those who have written our country off.
The result brings a crushing end to 14 turbulent years of rule under the Conservatives, their worst result in history.
I have heard your anger, your disappointment, and I take responsibility for this loss.
Britain has had 5 prime ministers in just the past 8 years, a period that saw Britain's exit from the European Union, the coronavirus pandemic, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, a financial market crash under Liz Truss, and an inflation crisis. Immigration remains a major political issue. The Conservative plan to reroute some asylum seekers to Rwanda for processing is set to be dropped by Starmer.
Labour is going to need to find a solution to the small boats coming across the channel,
It's going to ditch the Rwanda scheme, but it's going to have to come up with other solutions to deal with that particular problem.
Analysts say Britain is unlikely to see dramatic changes in foreign policy under Prime Minister Starmer.
Keir Starmer's Labour government will continue to back Ukraine against Russia very strongly. It will try and maintain the special relationship with the United States of America, although that will get a little bit more difficult if President Trump is re-elected.
Starmer's first foreign visit will likely be to next week's NATO summit in Washington.
I know that he's a strong supporter of NATO, of the transatlantic alliance, and also committed to ensure that the United Kingdom continues to be.
Thank you very much for joining us for the Lunchtime News. My name is Wadulo Arnold. It's been a lovely bulletin. However, do join us later on at our several bulletins at 6:30, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. for more news in those bulletins. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and have yourselves a lovely afternoon.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.